Who wants to kick it off with a hot take?
I'll start because I think it's one that we probably, with you guys having like a marketing, focus in your roles, sometimes just the marketing end, right, of firearms. And it is a catch-22. For example, the biggest elephant to point to in the room is like Google ads kind of run the world and the rest of consumer products, right? But obviously gun companies can't do that. Now there are workarounds and there are other agencies and there are other PPC type platforms that you could use, but you can't use Google AdWords. Now at the same time, that also becomes a playing field leveler. Well, if I can't do it and that guy can't do it, well, now we're both having to get scrappy, so, organic SEO and things like that, more traditional web-based marketing is still at play for a company like us. Whereas on a consumer side and something that's not, regulated by a 3-letter agency, it's how big is your budget. Right. So your ROI is directly tied to your budget. Whereas I think there is some more creativity there. I'll say sometimes one of my biggest challenges, though, is like the inconsistencies between the social platforms. That's probably one of my biggest soapbox things, where it'll be like I posted the same thing there and the same thing there. But here you said it was not allowed, but here it was just fine. Those things always, but it's a cross section, right? Because these are private industries and we do believe in private industry. And so it is a catch-22, but it does make you get more creative, I would say. So finding partner organizations and other marketing outlets and people like Forge Relations or whomever else that help you combine with other folks. And so you do have to get scrappy, but I would say from a day-to-day, that's normally one that, when I wake up and I get a notification on my phone like, hey, we took that down. And then we decided to take all 43 of these down that were fine for the last 6 months. So that is a frustrating piece for us, especially when we're a valid business. We're well within the terms and conditions. And sometimes it's not even the platform. Sometimes you get brigaded. Sometimes you get people trying to ransom your account. But, with bigger growth and bigger audiences and bigger notoriety, the more you become a target to those types of things. So I wouldn't say it's just limited to firearms. I'm sure there's other businesses and things that deal with it, but that's generally one of the headaches that I just do not like dealing with.
What was it, like a year ago you guys got your whole account taken?
Yeah, Instagram. We're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah,
they're back.
Facebook's still in jail. It has been for a little while. I get glimpses of light, and we work with people who know people, and work through other organizations, such as yourselves that have people on the inside and could give insight, to getting those things fixed. Because 99% of the time, it's nothing that was actually against the terms and conditions. There's nobody in our facility that's trying to do anything slimy. We understand, listen, this is a platform that you and other business owns, and if we need to play by your rules, we play by your rules, but don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater because, we make guns.
Yeah, I don't really feel that easy about it. It kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And the fact that people can treat us the way they do, being a firearms company, when really, if you really go back, that's what gave them the freedom that they're using today to penalize us. Under one of my desks, under the glass, I did the artwork on this, by the way, but I have a picture of an ARAC and a Constitution. I said, both of these defend our freedom and both of these defend each other. And I think about that, and from commerce, finance, credit cards, banks, advertising is a group of it, but it goes much deeper. And when I was a kid, you watched cowboy and Indian movies. John Wayne took Iwo Jima. I mean, there was nothing bad about firearms. I don't know why firearms are bad now. Firearms have not changed. They weren't bad then. They aren't bad now. But you're treated as a second-class company because you manufacture firearms. And I personally have an issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel your pain. But more importantly, I think the frustration comes where they want to be a publisher, but not have any of the responsibility of a publisher. They're like, we're an open forum and anyone can post anything except for when I don't politically align with it. And then I'm going to put a separate clause. And I think this is one of the things that's the hardest for us to message in the 2A space is you have a Second Amendment right, whether you choose to use it or not. I think people have so, especially on the anti-gun side, so disillusioned themselves with this fact that, well, I'm just going to take away your gun rights because I don't want a gun, or I believe that, the police are always going to be there and there's never going to be, they're going to be 20 seconds away when I need them, or 5 seconds away. They have teleportation devices, and like none of that's true. It's like they're minutes away when seconds matter. And so you have to have the ability to defend yourself. You have a constitutionally protected right to be able to defend yourself and your family. But they don't recognize that they themselves even have that right. It's all that object scares me, and so I want it to disappear, and that's just not reality. And so it's incumbent upon us on the pro 2A side to educate, to take away. We all saw what happened with the Alec Baldwin shooting, where it was the gun's fault. No, it was his fault. He pulled the trigger. They want to say things, like, well, this mass shooting. Well, no, it's a mass murder. The gun is what you're focused on, but it was somebody who is evil that is doing evil intent. And that's the differentiating factor, is they want to put all of the ire on the gun and none of it on the individual, when we all know that the first step in gun ownership is taking personal responsibility for that firearm.
Well, if there was any logic to it, if you look at the statistics and take away suicides, and you take away rifle homicides, and you take pistol homicides, why aren't they trying to take all the pistols away? If they want to keep us safe, then you should be saying take all the pistols, not the ugly black rifles. They're not statistically the problem. So I don't understand the logic of it. I don't understand the meaning of it. I think it's simpler to point to a piece of metal and say that's the problem, instead of a more challenging question of where is the mental health of the people that are doing this? Why is there so much, when kids used to take a rifle and put it in a gun rack in a pickup truck and drive to school, and they never had the issues? So I think, unfortunately, if you don't focus on the core of the problem, you may feel better, but you're not going to fix it. And the other thing is, we're a gun manufacturer, right? And I should say everybody should own a gun, and I don't. And I don't know if this is an unpopular statement, but I think if you want to, and you're going to practice, and you're going to be responsible, then you should have as many as you want. I think that right has to be there for people. And I don't push that everyone should have one. Some people probably aren't comfortable, and maybe they shouldn't actually have a firearm. But I hope someone around them, if they need them, does have a firearm. And I hope they practice and train with it, and they're responsible with it. But the other side says, I don't want one, so I don't want you to have one either. And that really crosses a line to me. That's not the same thing. If you choose not to have it, I respect that. But if you're telling me I can't have it, I really have an issue with that. And that's why I just don't see the argument isn't logical to me at all. And it doesn't really, if you want people to be safer, which all of us do, I think you have to look at the core problem, not do something that's superficial that makes you feel better, but really is not ever going to fix the problem. And if you think the criminals are going to hand in their guns, I think that's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. So I just can't follow the logic of it. I mean, if this was a perfect world and we could all be totally safe and no one would ever get hurt, if everyone turned into fire, I might even consider it. I don't know if I'd do it, but I would consider if it could be a perfect world. But that's not the question, and that doesn't exist. So it's not even close to having that kind of a debate. And to me, it's just, I don't know why people feel that way. I really don't. I try to really understand both sides of arguments. Most of the time, honestly, there are questions out there today, it's debatable who's correct. But on the Second Amendment issue, I think with our history, our country's heritage and pedigree, I don't know that that's really a valid argument in that case. I don't know why people are saying some of the things they do. And to treat us as a second-class company because of it, it's pretty upsetting, to be honest with you. It's just not fair. Other people do things that, in my opinion, would be worse. And they're not treated as bad as we are.